Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, we are here today to stand and fight for the family of Amir Locke. My name is Tashira Garraway. I am the founder of Families Supporting Families Against Police Violence. But first and foremost, I am the fiance and the mother of Justin Tigan's now 15-year-old son. Justin Tigan was brutally beat to death here in the state of Minnesota by the St. Paul police and thrown inside of a trash dumpster August 19, 2009. Our families are here to stand in solidarity with yet another family who have had their loved ones stolen unjustly by this corrupted system here in the state of Minnesota. We know that there is a problem all over the United States, but there is a clear problem, and the proof is in the pudding that there is a problem here in the state of Minnesota. There has been over 470 murders at the hands of law enforcement here in the state of Minnesota in the last 20 years, and hardly no one has been held accountable except Derek Chauvin, Kim Potter, and Muhammad Noor, who killed a Caucasian woman. We need more accountability in this state. These families are out here hurting, and Amir would be alive today had the officials in this building held officers accountable before Amir. And when we, as families, were fighting for legislation, the no-knock warrants, 6 months ago, while there was a legislative session going on, had they passed that no-knock warrant, Amir would be alive right now. Our families have pleaded, our families have begged for the legislators, the Senate, Paul Gazelka, Warren Limmer, to hold these officers accountable and pass police accountability bills. And they refused to do so in the last session, and that's why we have another body, a young man he had a license to carry and he didn't deserve to get murdered in his sleep. How many more bodies? What else can you take from our families? So here again, we stand here with another body, but I want the legislators to know. I want the governor to know. I want everybody to know they had a chance. They had a chance to make changes before Amir. I want all of you to know that the blood is on all of your hands. I will now call forward Attorney Ben Crump that has come to fight for yet another family here in the state of Minnesota. Thank you.
Yeah, we can all come up together. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Minnesota's own Attorney Jeff Storms and Attorney Tony Ramanucci. We have the honor of representing the family of Amir Locke, his mother, Karen Wells, and his father, Andre Locke. We also have present with us his older brother, Andre Locke Jr., and a host of uncles and aunts and cousins also assembled with Tashira and these other families who are brokenhearted. We even have the family member of Emmett Till present with us today. What is so heartbreaking, and while we're here at the great capital of the state of Minnesota, is because obviously when we were making proclamations over in the Twin City of Minneapolis, even though we thought we were being heard, Tashira obviously Our proclamations were ringing hollow when we called for better policing, more restraint, more constitutional protections against excessive use of force. Apparently, it rang hollow. And so now we're here in this Capitol building with the echoes from each word that we articulate, that it will not remain hollow, that we will be heard. When you think about the fact when we were here, Attorney Storms, at the last trial of one of the police officers who killed George Floyd, it's hard to believe that there was a young black man killed unjustly during that trial named Dante Wright by Officer Kim Potter. And so you just simply can't believe during the trial of police officers who killed George Floyd that we're going to have another black man killed unjustly in the Twin City area. I mean, what do we have to do to say stop killing us, especially while we're going through the trial of the killers of George Floyd, which you all may remember was supposed to be the turning point. You remember that? George Floyd, the 9 minutes and 29 seconds was supposed to be the turning point. I think about the fact that you have Karen and Andre coming here to the Capitol demanding that legislation be passed to abolish no-knock warrants in the state of Minnesota. You know, before, when the leaders were offering the plea to say, let's abolish no-knock warrants, they were offering Breonna Taylor and her blood. But today, Karen and Andre are offering the blood of Amir Locke on this legislation to say no more no-knock warrants. The saddest part of it all is we thought you could take the word of the Minneapolis city officials when they said there was a ban on no-knock warrants. But we just found out within the last hour, not only was that a terrible joke played on us, that they insisted on a no-knock warrant and they insisted on nighttime service. Can y'all imagine nighttime service, which we know is the most dangerous time to serve a no-knock warrant? The fact that it is foreseeable that people are going to be asleep and you're going to break into their house unannounced. Amir Locke didn't have a chance. He did not have a chance. And so we come here to demand that Minnesota issue a ban on no-knock warrants, but
we need to step aside for a quick break. We do expect to hear from Amir Locke's parents in this press conference. I promise you won't miss any of that. We're going to step aside now. We'll be back in just 3 minutes.
I hated sticking my fingers. Then I got the Dexcom G6.
I just glance at my phone and there's my glucose number.
Wow.
My A1C's dropped over 2 points to 7.2.
That's a huge victory.
This is an important message for everyone on Medicare. Today, we are talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. If you don't have a Medicare Part C plan, call now because there may be plans with additional benefits available that are simply not covered under Medicare Parts A and B. That's right, there are people on Medicare but don't have a Medicare.
So, Attorney Storms, then we looked back and we said, well, how are these no-knock warrants being executed and who are they being executed against? And Tashira, it was no surprise that when they studied no-knock warrants in Louisville, Kentucky 2 years prior, that they found 82% of the time that the no-knock warrants were executed against black people. They weren't busting in the homes of our white brothers and sisters in the wee hours of the morning at nighttime service. No, they were doing this to black people's homes. And they found that 68% of the time that they found nothing. And so can you imagine all the trauma of those families of color after they homes were busted into by the very people who were supposed to protect and serve them, the psychological effect it has on the children. I wonder how many no-knock warrants have been served in Minneapolis in the last 2 years, and who those no-knock warrants were executed against. I wouldn't be surprised if most of them were executed against people who look like Amir Locke. Just the fact that they had open season to go to multiple apartments to violate the constitutional rights of black people. And we have to keep saying it because we got to make sure that people realize that this is not happening in the suburbs. This isn't happening where white people live. This is happening to black people. They're violating our constitutional rights on a daily basis, on a continuous basis, on a systematic basis. Minneapolis, you're better than that. Show us you're better than that. As Karen said, the legacy of Amir Locke, her baby boy, will be that this has to be the last time you bust into black people's homes and shoot and kill us unjustly. Amir wasn't the target of that search warrant. Amir was a law-abiding young man who was a licensed gun permit owner who had every right to the Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. But apparently in Minneapolis, they don't think black people have a right to either. And so we offer his blood on this legislation to once and for all abolish no-knock warrants in the state of Minnesota. Now you're going to hear from my most able co-counsel, Minnesota's own Jeff Storms, and then you're going to hear from the father of Amir Locke why they feel they had to be here today with these other families in the Capitol to ask for this ban on no-knock warrants to become law. And then you will hear from his broken-hearted mother, Karen. And then you'll hear from some of the other families, and then we will take your questions. And we intentionally want to take questions at the end because we want you to hear that it's not just Amir's family brokenhearted, but it's so many other black families who are brokenhearted too, who have been swept under the rug. Well, today, we're not going to let Minnesota sweep any black life under the rug because all of these black lives matter. Sweep under the rug, not. We're going to get justice for Amir Locke. We have Attorney Jeff Storms. a great, great civil rights lawyer here in Minnesota.
Attorney Crump, as we stand here once again next to a beautiful, grieving family, I'm struck by where we're standing, because how is it we've managed to make buildings that look like this for hundreds of years, but we can't pass laws that stop an innocent black man from being executed in his sleep? Surely we have that ability in this country. And the reason it hasn't happened, and some of our guiding principles that we've seen here in Minneapolis and some of our other local governments, are these. One, we don't learn. The city of Minneapolis refuses to learn. There was a man who died in 2010 named David Smith, who was killed in almost an identical fashion to George Floyd. Officers handcuffed him behind his back and put weight on his back, kneeled on his back until he asphyxiated. The city of Minneapolis was supposed to provide training to make sure no one ever died the way David Smith died again. And then George Floyd happened, showing us that Minneapolis does not learn. The city of Minneapolis, like the rest of the world, knew about the dangers of no-knock warrants from the killing of Breonna Taylor. And not only Breonna Taylor, but we've had our own no-knock examples here in Minnesota as well. There was a case involving a woman named Rakia Russell, where they wrongly executed a no-knock warrant and gave her horrific burns when they threw a flashbang grenade where she was. So the city of Minneapolis has been on notice about its no-knock policy. And then we get to the second principle. The city continues to lie to us. They tell us we banned no-knock warrants. No, you didn't. They tell us
We need to squeeze in a quick break. We'll get you right back live with this press conference after this.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, we are inside the courtroom as another day of jury selection continues in the movie popcorn murder trial. As both sides methodically go through potential jurors, we'll dive deeper into how this important process works. And on the docket, Sheila Keene Warren is accused of dressing up like a clown and then killing a woman. We'll bring you the bizarre details from this case as the killer clown murder trial moves closer.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
Someday, how are you? No, not now. Yeah, dude, that doesn't lose on any Endurance Auto Protection Plan. Call 1-800-572-8966 or visit EnduranceWarranty.com. Don't delay.
Back to Minneapolis now for more of the press conference. That is Attorney Jeff Storms speaking.
And it particularly does not help our communities of color. But bigger than that, stop lying to us.
Yeah. Well said, Attorney Storms. You know, if the no-knock bans would have been enforced, let's be clear, Amir Locke would still be here. If the no-knock bans were enforced, let's be clear, Amir Locke would still be here. Yes. If the no-knock ban was enforced, let's be clear, Amir Locke would still be here. Let's say it so they can hear us in Minneapolis. If the no-knock ban were... Let's say it all together. If the no-knock bans were enforced, let's be clear, Amir Locke will still be here. We need the mayor to hear us. If the no-knock bans were enforced, let's be clear, Amir Locke will still be here. Let's make sure the governor understands it. If the no-knock bans were enforced, let's be clear, Amir Locke will still be be here. Let's make sure President Biden hears us. If the no-knock bans were enforced, let's be clear, Amir Locke would still be here. Thank you all. Thank you all. Because Amir's mother and father got something to say. And we just want to get your attention before they addressed you. First, you're going to hear from his father. A lot of you all in the Twin Cities know him as Buddy McClain. That's right. Buddy got something to say. So, you all please give your attention first to his father, Andre Locke Sr., and then to his mother, his broken-hearted mother, who is defiant in demanding justice for her child, her baby boy, and that is Karen Wells. Andre and Karen will now address you.
Thank you, Mr. Crump, Mr. Storms, Mr. Manucci, if I said it correctly. Ramanucci. I stand here today. I'm Andre Locke Sr., Amir's father. As a proud father, I stand here. I'll state the facts. The blood is on the legislation.
Amen.
That's the facts. The truth needs no support. We all saw what we saw. I'm going to tell you this now. We demand that they pass the law for no-knock warrants in the name of our son, Amir. We demand justice, and we demand that this is done properly, and not tomorrow, not later on in 2 years. Mm-hmm. We demand that it's done immediately.
Immediately.
I stand here as a representation of my family, a representation of my son. Mm-hmm. I'm going to speak from my point of view. Amir was our son, and we loved our son.
Amen.
And we taught our son properly. We taught our son respect. Our son died by the hands of Minneapolis police, a trigger-happy Minneapolis police officer. It was something about that tape, since we're talking about the tape. And I've said before that I wanted people to close their eyes in America and envision the tape, because we can all see it. I've been dreaming about it since it happened. I keep seeing it over and over. It keeps recurring. And as I picture this and I continue to see it, there's other things that come out. I noticed when that officer kicked the couch, and when he kicked it the first time, and Amir didn't move, but he kicked it the second time, and the couch almost turned over. Oh my goodness. Not only did I see that or recognize that, but I also recognized the other officer who slapped that officer's gun down. He slapped the gun down. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Bad kill. Bad kill.
My Lord.
Bad kill.
Bad kill.
Bad kill. He slapped, listen to him, I'm gonna say it again. That officer on his right slapped the gun down.
Wow.
Hey, if Amir was, I'll say this, Amir didn't have the intent, the opportunity, nor the ability to hurt those officers. If Amir was a threat, if he was an imminent threat, the other officers would have engaged.
Everybody, that's a good
Everybody
point.
would have engaged.
Yeah.
When that officer slapped that gun down, they knew they messed up. They knew they messed up.
Wow.
It's breathtaking. It takes your breath away. Again, when I've told family to close their eyes and picture that film, you see it, you picture the footage. Now imagine if Amir was white. No one knew what was up under the blankets.
Wow.
It's unfair. It's unjust. It's not okay. Let the truth, I'll say it again, the truth needs no support. We all saw it. What's wrong with just accountability? What's wrong with just with transparency? What's wrong with just saying, we messed up? We messed up this time. We took an innocent life of a law-abiding citizen who had the right to carry, who did everything right. Zero criminal history. Why is it that we always have to humanize our children?
Man.
Why is it that we have to humanize our children to white America?
Tell them, buddy.
People want to make this a white and black thing. We're not racist, but they did. They made it a white and black thing. So they executed our son, and they went about it the wrong way. We are demanding justice. We're demanding that a bill is passed for the no-knock warrants in the name of Amir Locke, so that we can remember all of those that lost their lives. And that it doesn't ever happen again to any family, to low white class families who also is not talked about. This affects them too. Black and brown and poor white folks.
We have to step aside for a break as we're nearing the top of the hour.